My Lords, I came into this House during the hybrid measures, so for me, this has been normal. But despite the nightmare descriptions of bullying bear pit question time, although I'm not sure why the noble Baroness Jones thinks women are always the victims of this, I don't want the hybrid House, however ingeniously conceived of or executed by the wonderful staff, to ever become the new normal again, because it's bad for democratic accountability. I've attended physically as much as possible. As I've been focusing on apprenticeships in preparation for the Skills Bill, it's reminded me that no matter how much you study the theory or the rules, it's best to learn on the job. Can I take this opportunity, it's cheating I know, to say that as an apprentice peer, I've made every mistake in the book. I've stood at the wrong times, I've faced the wrong way in prayers, I've made second reading speeches at committee, I've confused committee stage with report stage, mistimed supplementary questions, and voted against my intentions by pressing the incorrect button. I apologise, and you might think that I'd be glad to cover my embarrassment by a near-empty chamber. But actually, it was the graciousness of those physically here, in person, peers, clerks and doorkeepers, who took me to one side and gently corrected me, that means that I'm getting the hang of it, slowly. But my point here is that through real-life interactions, you can learn the ropes, and Zoom will never replace the pressure of human interactions or the importance of informal chats. This is maybe a clue as to why, if you want to encourage valuing everyone, or indeed anyone, mandating a tick-box online training course is a shoddy substitute for creating an offline culture of open discussions about difficult and challenging behaviour. By the way, whoever thought that punishment for non-attendance at a course allegedly designed to improve relations with staff should be to ban those peers from all face-to-face communication with the same staff perhaps needs to attend a course in valuing common sense. But crucially, the fact that controversies about valuing everyone and the punitive and I consider unfair responses to non-attendance have not been fully debated or argued about in this House feels like an epitome of what's been lacking here over recent months. In a scathing article in The Times, Ian Martin wrote of a ghost parliament and quoted one MP talking of chambers full of negative energy, or I feel at least drained of energy. I agreed with the article's critique that some were too keen to treat Parliament as a normal workplace and not keen enough, even now, to return to normal. If ever there was a good excuse for a us versus them rule exemption, surely it would have been to honour the public by ensuring scrutiny and pushback against government removing people's liberties so easily. So I wish that actually there'd been less hybrid and these chambers had been packed. At the very time when the executive needed to be prodded, probed and interrogated over the 457 statutory instruments controlling every aspect of public life, Parliament was reduced to stultifying and formulaic set speeches read out, and yes, I'm reading mine out, it's a bad habit, often non-sequiturs, with no ability to push each other for clarity or to dig deep into ministers' answers or explanations. What's been lost, it seems to me, is the meaningful, interactive spontaneity that the noble Lord Cormac and so many other noble lords have discussed. And that has been a loss for democracy. And in that, I really do think we need to change. Even now, I worry about a slothful return to spontaneity and normal. Shouldn't these benches be packed to the gunnels on the 19th of July rather than waiting until September? Even in that last week, surely there's plenty of worrying developments that need our fullest attention, with renewed talk of vaccine certification, biosecurity data collection, surprise votes on mandatory vaccines for care workers. Don't we need to be here, all of us, to hold the government's feet to the fire on all of this? And surely it would be a real show of leadership in terms of encouraging a full-term return to work amongst the public if we led by example. Finally, just on the public, one thing I do relish is the return of the banished public from the estate back here. Both houses need to feel the presence and pressure of hordes of lobbyists, not the paid variety, but the constituents lobbying MPs and peers on matters of urgency. The grassroots activists denied the right to look parliamentarians in the eye and challenge them to account for decisions. I look forward to filling the place up with groups of sixth formers full of awkward squad teenagers stroppily asking why the House of Lords shouldn't be abolished. Fair enough question. And activists from across the country and across political divides demanding answers and actions. Because without the public valuably putting both houses under pressure, Parliament is denied its lifeblood and raison d'etre. So we owe it to the public, I think, to resume normal business as urgently as possible on their behalf.